Hi, this is Antoine from TeamLiquid.net. We're here with Alan Dabiri. Alan, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Alan Dabiri, and I'm a lead software engineer for the StarCraft 2 team.
Thanks, Alan. So we're just going to ask him a few questions about the software development side. To start off with, everyone's really interested in the special client you have here to help reduce lag. Is it locally hosted server, or what is that?
Yeah, it's actually not a special client. It's what we've done as a kind of a test pilot program. We've actually set up a local environment here that's running Battle.net. And so at the end of the day, we want to make sure that this tournament goes well and all tournaments go well, StarCraft 2 runs well, esports runs well, and there's things that are just out of our control, whether it comes to the internet or other factors. And so we wanted to make sure that we can make the best situation possible, the best show possible. So yeah, we decided to actually bring an environment here that we're running on locally, and we'll look at it for the future, and if it works out and this is something that we can kind of expand, we'll do so.
So you're interested in maybe in the future opening it up to other tournaments, people you know and trust?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Obviously, there was a lot of effort put into this one, and so it's not something that we're ready to just roll out to everyone just yet. But if we can, it would be something that would be great.
All right, cool. That sounds great. Moving on to some of the new stuff in Heart of the Swarm. One thing a lot of people are interested in that you recently announced was global play. Can you tell us a little bit more about the challenges involved with that kind of thing?
Sure. Basically what it is if you're familiar with how Diablo 3 works, you're going to be able to connect to any region you want. You're also, as tied to global play, we're also adding enhanced multi-language support as well. So depending on which client you've purchased, you'll actually be able to use many languages. So if you're an American player and you speak Korean, you can switch over to Korean and play in Korean. Basically for us, from a challenges perspective, there's a lot of infrastructure around Battle.net, and so we had to just make sure everything worked properly and worked well. There's still issues with the internet that are outside of our control, obviously, but at least now I think it will really help out in a lot of different cases, whether it's esports, whether it's playing with your friends, whether it's trying out new arcade maps that maybe exist on another environment.
All right, awesome. Now, speaking of Battle.net and playing with your friends, one thing a lot of people have been interested in is the unranked play that's coming in Heart of the Swarm. A lot of people are curious about how exactly that works. Does it work off your ladder MMR and it just matches you people there, or do you have separate MMR for unranked games, or how does that work?
Sure. So actually it uses a separate MMR. We will actually kind of bootstrap it from your ranked one, just so that we try to get you in a good spot as soon as we can. Otherwise it's essentially a clean slate. You will actually get matched up with other players. Like the pool is just one big pool, but if you're playing in unranked mode, you're not going to be participating in the ladder. So it gives you the advantage of being able to use our great matchmaker to find good games, but you don't need to worry about the ladder if you're not interested in actually being ranked.
Awesome, that sounds great. So does it match you against other people that are playing ladder, or just only other unranked people?
No, actually it's just one large pool, so you'll actually get ranked, matched up against people who are also playing the ladder.
So you could have not affect your ladder ranking, but have the game affect somebody else's.
That's correct.
All right, awesome. So let me look at my notes real quick. One social feature people have been interested in is the clans and groups. We've read recently about clans, but groups weren't really gone into too much detail. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, basically, so we definitely wanted to do clans, a feature that a lot of people have asked for, and we've had in the expansion for Warcraft 3. But in addition to that, we thought, well, you know what, why don't we take this a step further? There's one side which is clans, and maybe that's like competitive playing, people wanting to get together and play the game, but there's so much going on with StarCraft where you've got people like Barcraft, you've got community personalities, groups like Team Liquid, where you want to try to have a place where people can go talk about things, learn information from the group itself. And so we're going to have stuff like news where the group can post news, so members of the group, and if it's a public group, really anyone can look at it, even if they're not a member. But you'll be able to get information that way. We'll also have a chat channel, obviously, for players of that group. We've talked about a lot of other ways that we can disseminate more information from the group. You'll be able to select, for groups, you'll be able to kind of categorize which group you're from, whether you're a Barcraft, or you're a school, or you're a esports community. And that way people who want to search for a specific kind of group, they can find the ones that they're interested in.
All right, awesome. Now going back to the matchmaking, there was something I meant to ask about that I missed. People, when they want to switch race, they have a challenge. Like, they don't want to, if you're in Masters, you don't want to switch to a different race and then maybe you're only at a Silver League skill level. Is there anything coming to help fix that?
So yeah, we've heard those comments, and we've actually looked into this a little bit. Probably right now, we're looking at the whole concept of separate MMRs per race. It's something that we've discussed a little bit. It poses a couple technical challenges for us based on the way that our matchmaker works. So we're still looking at it. It's not clear that we'll get it in for Heart of the Swarm, but it's possibly an option that we can look at for the future.
All right, and then going back to the social side of things, one thing that a lot of people have asked for is shared replay viewing, where you have a replay, you tell everyone to load it up, and you can watch along, you pause with your friends, go over, if you had a great game, you go over it, you say, this is where I did something really awesome, everybody look at that. Is there anything coming down the pipe in that avenue?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's exactly what we're adding in Heart of the Swarm is basically multiplayer replay watching, where you'll be able to host a lobby with some friends, get them in, select a replay, and essentially watch the replay together. That in itself, I think, is an awesome feature, and it'll help in so many ways. Just watching games with your friends, training, from a coaching perspective, things like that. But even beyond that, we're adding a couple new features that we've never had before. One is the resume from replay feature, which will allow you to basically resume a game that ended, unexpectedly for some reason. If it's an esports scenario, and let's say a computer overheated, crashed, whatever it might be, now you can kind of pick up where that game left off. And then the other thing, which I'm pretty excited about, is this concept of being able to play from a spot in a replay. So you could get in a game that you just played, watch the replay of it with your friend, and maybe you guys had a little smack talk where you said, you know what, I could have done better if I'd done this, I would have won. And now he's like, okay, let's try it. So you watch the replay, get to a certain point, and just kind of punch in right there and say, okay, we're going to pick up right here. And now you're actually playing the game from that spot.
Yeah, that sounds awesome for practice. You say, let's both do standard openings, and then from there, we try different things.
Absolutely. It opens such a huge thing for training. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I guess we're coming up near the end. One last thing I had a question about was the ability of people to watch games in the client, live games. So, for example, if you're at MLG and you're running your open bracket, you can jump into the game and start streaming that open bracket game if it's really interesting. Is there anything maybe coming down the pipe for that?
It's something we've been interested in for a long time. It's definitely on the list. It's not going to come in Heart of the Swarm, but it's something that's very high on our list of things we'd like to do. So I would just keep an eye out for it, and hopefully one day we'll get that in.
All right, that was Alan Dabiri. I'm Antoine from Team Liquid Net, signing out. Thanks, Scott.